Good morning, North Coast, and welcome. My name is Zoe, and we have a fantastic lineup for you this morning. But before we jump into all of these juicy stories we have for you today, we're first going to be going over to the weather and surf report by Heili and Deon. Stick around.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to your weather for today, brought to you by Ballito Gas and Fry. Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with a high of 26 degrees and a low of 18 degrees. The real feel will be 29 degrees and the real feel shade 25 degrees. We have an east-northeasterly wind at 13 kilometers per hour and wind gusts at 22 kilometers per hour. Also 0% chance of showers, which is wonderful. The sunrise will be at 5:12 a.m. and the sunset at 6:09 p.m. Pretoria het tye van bewolkheid vandag, maar is lekker sonnig with a high of 27 degrees and a low of 15 degrees. Joburg also sunny today, but becoming cloudy in the afternoon, en dit klink baie soos ek, with a high of 25 degrees and a low of 15 degrees. And then Cape Town partly sunny and pleasant today, with a high of 24 degrees and a low of 15 degrees. Next up will be your surf report, brought to you by 10 skryfbehoeftes and Deon Bosman from Victory Surf. Enjoy your day and we'll see you tomorrow.
Morning Ballito, and welcome to a beautiful Thursday morning and a lovely sunrise at 5:15 this morning and a beautiful beach day. Absolutely perfect, light northerly breezes right now, and pretty similar to yesterday. We've got a 16 to 23 knot northeasterly later on today, but a beautiful beach morning and lovely small little fun waves. Great for bodyboarders and great for the surfers just to get down there and enjoy the beautiful Ballito beaches. Cracker 23, 24 degree day. Enjoy your day, guys. It's going to be an absolute banger out there. Don't forget your sunblock.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'm sitting again this week with Prathisha to give us our daily inspiration. Welcome.
Thank you, Zoe. Good morning.
Morning. What have you got in store for us?
So today we're talking about the baggage that we carry around. Okay, so are you carrying baggage around with you? And to get to the depths of that, we're actually talking about forgiveness. And it's quite a serious one, and generally I'm not the serious type, but I'm going to wing it. So not forgiving somebody is basically like, can you imagine walking around with two 20 kg suitcases and pulling it around with you all day long as you go through life? That is essentially what it is doing when you're not forgiving someone. Now, I want to be very clear here. When I ask you to forgive, it is for you. It is to open your heart so that you can live with an open heart and be happy and have inner peace. When you're not forgiving, how do you feel? Zoe, have you ever held a grudge?
I try not to. I make a point not to, because
okay, so let's go back to
it's like horrible, isn't it?
Back in the day when you did, right?
Yes, yeah.
Didn't you feel angry, frustrated?
And it's not nice to carry that around.
Yes. And Anne Lamont, the brilliant Anne Lamont, actually said that not forgiving is like drinking rat poison and expecting the rat to die. Oh, wow. Basically, we poison ourselves from the inside out when we are not forgiving. Now, again, I want to emphasize, I'm not condoning people's actions. People abuse other people, people indulge in infidelity, people hurt and betray other people, and on a daily basis. But not forgiving does nothing to them. It's basically to yourself. So today, I want to invite you and everybody else to have an open mind around forgiveness so that you can get rid of that baggage and live with an open heart and be happy. And so I have a little story, as always, and it's about a Tibetan monk, okay? And it was back in the day when China and Tibet were at war, and they incarcerated this Tibetan monk and obviously treated him really badly. They tortured him, they didn't give him food, they did awful things as they do in those cases. And when he came out, he met the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama asked him, I know you must have had lots of weak points, but what was your weakest point? And the monk replied, well, it was when I started to realize that I was losing my ability to forgive. Can you imagine that? That is how powerful forgiveness is, because he knew losing your ability to forgive puts you in a state of bitterness, resentment, and who wants that, right? No one. So I want to help you change your thinking today, and I invite you to try going with these things. Number one is hurt people hurt people. We don't know everyone's journeys from the time they're born to present moment. So have a bit of compassion because you don't know. The second one is everyone is doing the best that they can with the tools, resources, and knowledge that they have at that time. And that includes brain cells, okay? So some people just may not have it up there enough to do the right things in life, okay? They just don't have the knowledge. And I say that from a place of love. And the third one is that people don't go out and do things, I'm going to hurt Prathisha today, or I'm going to hurt Zoe today. They basically do these things that have hurt you or upset you for a selfish need, okay? Which doesn't really make it better, but it's not to just go out and hurt you. That's not their main intention. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning thinking, I'm going to hurt this person. They're generally thinking about what they want and what they need, which as a side effect may hurt or upset somebody else.
Yes.
So I have a little technique that we can try, and I like to put things that you can do while you're driving, while you're sitting at home, while you're sitting in front of the TV even. And it's called the ancient Hawaiian technique, Ho'oponopono. So I'm going to share my shortened version of it with you today. And basically, Zoe, we place our hands on our heart. You know me and the connecting with the heart. I love it. And we say, I'm sorry. You think of the person that you're holding this grudge or not forgiveness towards. And you say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And I know it's strange, and it's something that feels unnatural to do to somebody, towards somebody who you're holding a grudge with, but you're basically changing the energy that's passing between the two of you.
Yes.
And with time, it works for conflicts as small as the ones I have with my 2-year-old, and as large as lifetime experiences that we go through. So I invite you to try it for you, and to open your heart, and live your greatest life, and let go of all that baggage.
I think that sounds amazing. And you know where I think that's going to come in handy? The amount of times we all get frustrated driving through traffic in
Yes,
Ballito.
it works for that as well.
It's that person that cuts you off, or that when you let someone go and they don't wave or anything, and you're just sitting there going, oh my gosh.
Yes, it definitely
We're going
helps
to be
with that.
Woozah. I'll be practicing that one then, definitely.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Just send that vibes their way.
I know, definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much as always for coming in, Prathisha. Lovely.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
guys, before we move on, I must, of course, thank our water sponsors for keeping us hydrated. That is Pooza Water. Thank you very much. And then coming up next, right after this break, we are going to have, Warren Load is going to be back in with us again with a new story. It's like a history lesson every week. Absolutely love it. See you soon.
Dom's B&B is a proud sponsor of the Vinci International Film Academy Awards. Situated in Ballito on the stunning Dolphin Coast, at Dom's B&B is an exquisite luxury 6-bedroom guest house that can accommodate 14 to 16 people. At Dom's B&B we are practically on the foot of the ocean. With us being so close to the sea, we have sounds of waves echoing in the ears of our guests.
The winners of the Best Director Award will each win a one-night stay for two at Dom's B&B to the value of 1,750 Rand.
Welcome back, my beautiful people, and we are sitting again with Warren this week. You always have a lovely story for me every single week, Warren. Welcome back. Now, I believe we're going to be talking about Pinetown, another local story.
Yes.
What is it? The Horsemen of Pinetown.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
It's your story. Come on. Right. Well, take me from the beginning. Where does the story start?
Starts in Pinetown, actually.
It doesn't, oddly enough.
Yeah, there's a little. There used to be a church in the middle of Pinetown that shut down shop in the 1950s, I think it was, and the only thing that remains is the graveyard. And there's a couple of graves on the side of a car park, and there's nothing much else there. So when I was younger, we always used to go to the new church next door, and we used to walk past the graveyard and not know who these graves were about. And then I started reading a story recently about Victoria, people that won the Victoria Cross, and one of them is buried there in that little corner of the car park. So I wrote the story about him, and yeah, I've got lots of interest, and he's actually been brought back to life again.
Awesome.
One of the reasons why I write my stories is to actually pay homage and respect to the people and their actions and what they've done in the past. And this story has done exactly that. He's now been remembered for what he did all over again. So I'm happy that my story has done that, yeah.
Awesome. So this particular hero, or a soldier that we're talking about, who is he? Can you tell me more about him?
Yeah, his name is Joseph Malone, and he was the 20th recipient of the Victoria Cross. He was famous for being one of the 600 horsemen in the Battle of Balaclava, and more specifically the, what was it called? I forget now. The Charge of the Light Brigade,
Yes.
which is very, very well remembered and romanticized in poems and stories and that. And yeah, it's just delving a little bit deeper into his story and how he won the Victoria Cross is just very interesting. How they saw that their guns were being taken by the Russians, and they were sent off to go and attack the guns and bring the guns back. And just the gallantry of the soldiers, how 600 of them went in, and how there were over 120 killed, and more than that same amount that were injured, and very few of them actually came back. And what made his story even more interesting was that when he was attacking the guns, his horse was killed, and he fell down, and the horse was pinned underneath him, and somebody pulled him out from under the horse. And when he was retreating, an officer was very badly wounded, and he helped remove the officer out of the line of fire, which he received the Victoria Cross for. So yeah, it was quite a nice story. And then later on in life, he went to India, and after that he came to South Africa, to Durban, and I think he was sick when he came to South Africa, and he never quite recovered, and he died at the old Rugby Hotel. And that was another talking point, because on the blog everybody's, I remember the Rugby Hotel, I remember the Rugby Hotel, is it still there? And I'm like, no, since I was born it wasn't there, type of thing. So yeah, I think it brings back people's memories too, that they were used to be in Pinetown, and they lived there, and they went to the hotel, and they remember where the church was, and things like that, that made the story exciting. But yeah, that's where he is. He's buried there in Pinetown. And yeah, that's basically the story of Joseph Malone.
How exciting. Now, this story is very new from what I know. You only wrote it in the last week. You finished it.
Yeah, I think it was, I wrote it the weekend before last. And then last weekend, I started getting people messaging and saying, oh, look, these are the pictures. We've cleaned up his grave. We put flowers there. And there was an article in one of the local newspapers this week to say, to talk about the cleanup of his grave and how they've remembered him. So, yeah, it's all quite new.
And you got some, was it 3,000 odd reads in the first 2 days? That is insane. And I think it's like what you said, even last week's story, because it was more local to here. It's because you're talking about these places, and I've driven past them, I know them. So it just feels like we're more invested in the story. Because it's right here. And to think that all these heroes and all these stories and all this rich history happened right here, it really helps you really get invested in our town's history. Because I know Ballito is such a big growing town. The North Coast is growing so quickly, but it's nice to just go back a little bit and remember. That's insane. And Tommy, you've been working on this blog for a while now. You must have quite a few stories by now. I mean, I've taken a scroll through it, and it's like never ending.
Yeah, I've got lots of stories. But and there's still lots more to come, because I actually was approached by the guys at the Moths Hall in Durban to say, please, can you come to their meeting next time, because they want to discuss a whole lot of other graves that they want to clean up, and possibly I can do the background story for that.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's... And I did mention to them the one story that I'd done before on Trooper Knight, who's buried not too far from Tongaat. And I said I really would like to have a proper, tombstone or something put there where he's buried. So that's one thing that will be up for discussion on Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So by the time I see you next week, you should have more to tell me about that. That's exciting.
I hope so.
An update.
The nice thing is there's positive things coming out of it.
Yes.
And the more I write, the more these people get remembered for
instead of
what
forgotten.
they've done. Yeah.
Instead of forgotten, which could very easily happen. But we don't want that happening. I mean, I've told you before, I absolutely loved history myself in school, mostly because of my dad. Whenever other kids were watching Disney Channel, I was sitting with my dad watching history, instead of watching Hannah Montana. So that's why I love that of all the anchors, get to talk to you about this every week. But how exciting. Absolutely love your stories every single week. And I look forward to hearing your update next week on how things go with the Moths. So that's awesome. Thank you very much. Again, as always, Warren, for gracing us with your wondrous stories. And I'll see you next week. And you guys heard it. Go on to it's Blogs of a Middle-Aged Man, and you'll be able to scroll through there to see all the stories. Oh my great golly gosh, it's a good read. Awesome. Now, we're going to be going on to a quick ad break, and then after that, we're talking to the fabulous Sharon Sinclair. See you soon.
Passion, purpose and aligned action is the driving force for all change. Chandramala is a mindful business consultancy bringing people and businesses together. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on Ballito TV as I take you through a business alignment process and journey. Remember, now is your most precious moment.
importance of certified, compliant and good working fire equipment can mean the difference between your insurance claim being successful or rejected. All insurance companies insist on fire equipment compliance before business or buildings can be insured. Here we have BrokerSure leading the way by setting an example to others. Well-maintained fire equipment is the key to an insurance claim in the event of fire damage. HASPAC, being SABS and SAQCC accredited and certified, are well positioned to serve, maintain and provide new quality fire equipment such as fire extinguishers, hose reels and hydrants. Fire extinguishers, hose reels and hydrants require annual service and maintenance by law to be compliant. HASPAC offer these services through highly qualified technicians and a modern state-of-the-art workshop. HASPAC take the time and effort to remind their valued clients on an annual basis, taking the responsibility and worry away from the client through their up-to-date software systems. HASPAC offer quick and easy replacement services to ensure you, your business are protected and abiding to the laws. Remember, commercial locations have strict laws governing them with regards to fire safety regulations. Call us, make sure you and your business are compliant.
Welcome back, and as promised, Chandramala, Sharon Sinclair, welcome back, my darling. What have you got for me today?
Well, today we've got actually something quite interesting, which is intention. And so there's a twofold to how we set intentions. And I think the biggest way that most people know and are familiar with is kind of goal setting, and they establish a item or an object or a desire of some sort which is more tangible and generally something that you can actually touch, feel, see and kind of gauge. And so it's always interesting how many people want to immediately, when they come to me, they want to, what are the goals that I must, what are the things that I must do, etc. And I say to them, just get rid of that, just throw it away. And they're like, they get so like shocked and oh, no, but I need to work towards these are my intentions. I want to get the house, I want to get the car, and I need to get that salary, and I need to save X amount of money, etc. And when people start talking about that, that's their intention, there's so much pressure on them. And trust me, I've been there as well, many years back. And so much pressure that they put on themselves to, I've got to attain these certain things, and then they still put a time frame to it. And as soon as there's a time frame on, there's even triple the amount of pressure. And
Panic. Wah, wah, wah.
I know, it's like overwhelm. and have we not got enough responsibility and overload and overwhelm in this world today? And so the approach that I take with setting an intention is, how do you want to feel? And that just seems to be so much better. And it's quite funny when I talk to people that know me from corporate, because I was very dynamic and very competitive, and this was what I was going to do, when, how. And now they come to me and I say, just how you feel. And they go like, it can't be the same person. And it's quite funny because we achieve so much more when we go into how does it make us feel. And so once again, with what Prathisha was saying earlier, is when we put so much pressure on ourselves, we start to feel guilty, and all that baggage that we carry. And so responsibility can be on an energetic level seen it has an energy of baggage as well. And so the way that I help people to set intentions is, how do you want to feel? Immediately they feel so much, oh, there's less pressure. I can actually do this. And so what we have to understand with the power of intention is it works faster than the speed of light.
Oh, wow.
And so few people know that. But intention works on how do I feel. And so how I feel, and intention needs to be free-flowing and easy and no baggage. And so intention is, I want to feel happy. I want to feel joyous. I want to feel abundant. Because let's face it, in this world, money is important. And so I want to feel abundant. I want to be wealthy. All right? I want to feel prosperous. Because when we feel prosperous, we can help so many other people. We can give freely, and there's no restrictions and limitations. And so when we're working with intentions from an individual, and they say, I want to meet the right guy, or I want to get an apartment of my own, I want to move out from my folks, and then you say, so what is the feeling? Freedom. So often freedom comes in. I want to feel free, I want to be independent, I want to be my authentic self. And so that's a nice something to work with. And so we don't set these rules and these limitations to ourselves. And as soon as we set, I want to manifest, my intention is I want to buy a couch just like this. But now you can't find the couch. You shop around, you Google on all the online shops, etc., and you can't find it. You're so frustrated. And what is attached to the couch?
The frustration.
Is emotion. But it's now you can't get the couch, and so you feel bad about yourself. You feel less worthy of yourself. You feel, well, if I can't even get this city couch, then I can't get that job that I wanted. And so can you see the ripple effect and the potential damage that we're causing ourselves when we set our expectation and kind of our demands on this specific couch? And so let's rather say I would love a beautifully furnished home or apartment. I'd love to feel relaxed and at peace in my apartment. And then you start to find that House and Home has got a special, or Hershey's has got a special, and then this couch pops up. It might just be the right color. And so when we rather take our intention to the way we are wanting to feel, because ultimately the couch has nothing to do with it.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
What the couch is a symbolism of what we're really wanting to aspire towards, of how we feel. And so intention for me works so much more powerful when we say, I want to just feel at peace with myself. I want to be happy. And when we really start to unpack all these vases and cars and houses and salaries, etc., then we come down to the real bottom of what people really want to feel. And they want to feel freedom. They want to just feel happy within themselves. And so that's quite an important thing, is setting the intention with more flow, more ease.
Yes.
And let's keep it broad. At the same time, there may be a time where we do need to be specific. So with the clients that I work with, I would have, depending on where they are at, depending on their mindset, and depending on what's blocking them, or their self-perception, I would work with either, all right, let's focus on this car that you're wanting, and let's hone in on that.
Yes.
But then it could be 6 months later, I'm saying, let's go broad.
Yes.
Let's go with the feeling. And so there's no right or wrong with intention. It depends from person to person. I prefer to work with people and organizations where it's more of a flow, it's more broad and not so specific, because as soon as we go with the feeling, emotion, everything around us is based on emotion, it's feeling, it's energy.
Yeah, well, I suppose regardless of what the intention is or the goal that you're working towards, you can be as determined as you want, but if there's a the emotions behind that backing it are like panic and frustration, like I have to get it done, that's just going to throw you right off. But having those positive vibes, maintaining it can be quite difficult. It's the whole mastering your mind and mastering your thoughts and trying to keep yourself positive, which isn't the easiest thing in the world to do, but you've given us a lot to think about.
Yes,
absolutely fantastic. Wow. So yeah, I know, I'm lucky that with my work that I get to, there's already so many positive vibes that go behind my work.
Absolutely.
So for me it's easy, but I'm very lucky and not everyone is as lucky. So
absolutely.
That's phenomenal. Well, you've given everyone a lot to think about and you guys heard it. Keep those positive vibes flowing. Now, I do believe we are going into an ad break and then we will have an interview with Greg Walsh by Sharon right after this.
Welcome back to our Good Morning North Coast show. With me in studio, I have a live Zoom with our CEO, Greg Walsh, from the Rage Festival Group, which Ballito is obviously a division thereof. Greg, thank you so much for joining me today.
Good morning, Sharon. Thanks for having me.
It's so good having you on. Obviously, Rage is such a big hype, and especially in KZN, it's such a big deal, and everyone from Joburg comes to KZN. Tell me, what's happening this year? Is it happening? How are we doing it? And how are we getting COVID to actually work with Rage? I mean, last year it was a bit of a touch and go basis.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a very kind way of putting it, Sharon. So, look, I think Rage has always been a big hype for Matrix, and it's I think it's been its biggest hype ever, and unfortunately not for good reasons on the back of 2020 and COVID-19. You know, we went ahead and did a festival at a time where, you know, we had this little, and we've had them 3 times now, this sort of like COVID holiday where everyone's out and about again, and it feels like it's gone, and we're so cool in South Africa, look at them in Europe, shame. Yeah. And we were exactly in that moment, and we did this festival outdoors, actually mostly in Durban last year. And, you know, I think what none of us saw coming was the beta variant, that it was being communicated between young people predominantly who were going undetected. And, you know, I think, our festival took the rap for everything, but, you know, there was a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of partying in nightclubs. And
it's so easy to just blame a Rage. You know, it's just so easy to shift the blame. Unfortunately, I mean, that happens.
Yeah. And look, I think during COVID-19, unfortunately, if you're in the business of organizing, you're automatically a charged criminal without trial before being given the opportunity to hear your side of the story. Exactly. I don't really want to dwell on 2020. I think it was painful for everybody involved. And now to look at, you know, what's different about 2021, and the question was, is it happening? Yes, it's happening. It's absolutely happening, and it's happening in such a different way, with so much energy, effort, and positive attention from us that, you know, I guess one can never guarantee anything's going to be perfect. But I really, when I look at what we're doing, I look at what we're putting into it, I look at how hard people like the Department of Health and KZN are working with us, the local Quadriga Events and Tourism Office. Everyone's taking an amazingly positive stance to go, you know what, we understand 2020, let's put down everything that we learned. Let's put down everything that we went wrong. Let's have tough conversations with each other. Let's point fingers if we have to. Right, then let's take everything that we understand that went wrong, and let's start looking at what technologies are available now that weren't available then. And we start with the slightly contentious one that we went live with, which was no jab, no entry.
That's right. Yes, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so now that isn't a legal requirement. It's not part of the Events Act. It doesn't exist anywhere in any government gazette, but it was a standpoint that we made because we understood that young people, there's probably a bit of vaccine hesitancy, and whilst we're not necessarily pro-vaxxers or politically inclined, we recognize that to get a festival safely across the line, we needed to do something really, really different. So the first line of defense we put up was the no vaccine, no entry policy. I understand it turns some people away. We've had some interesting messages from people saying, you're forcing the youth to get vaccinated. I said, we're not forcing the youth to get vaccinated. We're just saying, if you want to come to Rage this year, it's just one of those things that's going to allow us to do something rather than nothing.
Exactly. It benefits them all in the long run. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was the first line of defense. The second one we looked at was obviously testing. One of the things we've had to do as a business is adapt during this time, and we formed a COVID testing facility in Johannesburg with mobile COVID testing teams. We test offshore on ships off the Durban harbour. So we've built a lot of skills in the COVID rapid antigen and PCR testing, and recognized that if we make use of testing regularly, we can obviously also identify if there's going to be any issues happening.
Yes.
Exactly. We take a fully vaccinated audience. We then add the layer of testing on all staff, all attendees, artists, musicians, everyone. And then, of course, that final layer of whatever the government gazette regulates in terms of sanitization and so on. And, you know, and I think that the big hope from us is saying, you know, putting up all these lines of defense means we're going to run, obviously the vaccinated story brings the kind of communicable transmission down by 60 to 70%.
Yeah.
And doing all of the testing, I think, brings us down to sort of negligible, because every day that we open the doors, we're going to start with a fully negative audience. And what we're hoping is on the back of that the matrics can actually have some freedoms, because the festival we did get to put on last year was hugely restrictive, with everyone wearing masks and having to social distance. And I think that's almost what hyped up all of the parallel activities, because it was so restrictive coming to Rage. And this year, what we really want to motivate for is look at the rest of the world. I mean, the Amsterdam Dance Event's just taken place with 350 events across Amsterdam. No one was wearing a mask. Everybody was having a great time. And it is possible to do those things. It is possible to do them safely. And we're now there as a country. We are there. And it's time to open up and for people to be able to touch each other again. And that's a bit of a funny way of saying
to have fun in a social environment again. No, exactly. I completely agree with you. And I mean, the amount of effort that goes into organizing those protocols or those strict measures to make sure they're safe, to make sure nothing bad can happen to them. It's a healthy environment, a safe environment. It's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and it's something that we should take our hat off to you guys to do, to say thank you. I mean, to make an event happen for kids that, I mean, this is everything to those matric kids at the end of the day. You know, I mean, this is what they've been waiting for at the end of the exams. I mean, you want it to be a memorable event for them too, and a safe one.
That's it. And I think that's also been the argument from our side, is to go, that's fine. You know, when we're talking to officials, I think there was a lot of, let's say, negativity, and unsurprisingly so, after the media debacle last year that we went through. And to go, okay, fine. So you can say, no, that's fine. We went and ran a survey of tricks of 2021. And the response was overwhelmingly, we're going to go to KZN anyway. And because it's our turn. It's our rite of passage. We're not going to miss the holiday portion of it. And by God, the holiday portion will certainly include partying. And if you don't provide parties, well, we'll make our own. And I think when you look at what that looks like compared to Rage's, the entertainment values and stuff at Rage are off the charts compared to what
exactly.
But also the safety measures are in place. It's being done smartly. It's being done with local tourism, with the Department of Health. Everyone's involved. And to me, that's only positive. That's a far better situation than everyone going and doing their own thing in the town.
Greg, it's absolutely fabulous what you guys have been doing. And in closing, Greg, I just want to touch base. We've got a few minutes left. I mean, you've got the red frogs, you said, are there to look after the kids. I mean, it really is safe. Parents don't have to worry not just only about COVID, but you've got actually people on standby looking after their children as well.
Yeah, listen, the Red Frogs have been involved in Rage, gosh, I want to say more than 15 years. I'm giving away my age now as well. I think this is my 19th Rage in Ballito. The Red Frogs are unbelievable. Paul and Brett and the team, they come with a team of volunteers, around 100 volunteers every year to Ballito and Mshlanga. They infiltrate the town. They do pancakes in hotels. Effectively, they're just there to say yes to whatever your challenge is. That's really what their purpose is about. And they're, not only that, they're working hand in hand with us on also, they're not COVID-19 specialists, but they're there to support, they're there to guide, they're there to help everyone, just have a safe time, have the right time, have a positive time. That's really what the Red Frogs stand for. And they're an amazing positive addition to what we do.
Oh, most definitely. And Greg, are there still tickets available?
There are. So I want to talk very quickly about the festival itself, and because I think there's a lot of speculation as to, gosh, it's COVID, gosh, last year, what is this festival? And the answer is, it's back on that beautiful lawn farm just behind Sugar Rush in Ballito. It starts on the 30th of November and runs for 5 consecutive nights until the 4th of December. And we're doing something truly spectacular. We're being sensitive to the issues of COVID-19 and how we space the site out. But the big Rage Megadome is back, but being used in a completely different artistic way and breaking up the space as opposed to making it one big, I want to say, rave hall. The Belgravia main bar tent is something very exciting being done there, with scaffolding and multiple seating areas to break the audience up so they can really have an amazing time in pockets of friends. There's this beautiful area called the Social, which links them all together, which is going to have 15 or 20 amazing different things that I can't tell you too much about. International artists are coming. We're actually in the final throes of booking some amazing international artists who we're sharing with some very cool events in Cape Town. So I'm just extremely excited about, I think for us, it's been, never mind just challenges around the outbreak of COVID last year, but just as a business as a whole, we're talking about 18 more now, 22 months of effectively nothing. And to just the excitement of doing something, is actually just spurring us to do something more amazing than we've ever done before. So yes, there's tickets available. The Rage Black Passport, which is the VIP passport, there's very few left. There are only 400, I think 360 and some change have been sold. So those I anticipate by the end of October will be gone. And then the Rage Platinum Passport, which is the main event entry ticket, those there are still some available, about 50% sold out. And because of the COVID-19 situation and the fact that we have to obviously cover the cost of rapid antigen testing everybody, we're not paying any day tickets. So you do have to buy a passport, because obviously that higher ticket price allows us to include the rapid antigen test.
Vision for that. Great, thank you. It was so exciting to hear what you guys have been up to make it a COVID-friendly, healthy and safe environment for the matric kids. I'm sure they're all very excited, and thank you for all that you guys have done as a group for our matric kids to come and have fun and to be safe, and for their folks to know that they're at least entering a safe environment as well.
Thank you so much, Taryn, and provided you're vaccinated, we'd love to have you there as well.
I'm sure we'll definitely come and pop by. Great, thanks so much. Have a super week and all the best with your final arrangements for Rage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to go to a quick ad break, and after the ad, we'll be with our new guest.
We're privileged today to have with us in the studio Herman Mashaba. So who is Herman Mashaba? Herman Mashaba is an entrepreneur, well-known entrepreneur. And as many of South Africans will know, he was the former executive mayor of Johannesburg Metro Municipality. And now, as most South Africans know, he is the president and founder and leader of Action SA, a new political party in South Africa. So it's a real privilege and honor to have you in studio today, sir.
Thank you so much for this invitation. I did not actually realize that I don't know if you people are aware, I'm a resident of this community for almost 10 years. I own property and a house here at Simbiti for many years, and I'm glad. Being here is like being at home in Johannesburg. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Wonderful to have you. So to start off with, Herman, the political landscape in South Africa, it's inundated. There's hundreds of parties wanting to contest the election. What's wrong with the established political parties that there was a need for Action SA?
Well, I think first of all, we have the ruling party, which is the ANC, which, you know, we grew up, particularly for us as black people, thinking that they're a liberation organization, but we've just recently realized that they are a criminal enterprise masquerading as a political party. They've been governing this country for the last 27 years. The damage that they've caused, it's unimaginable. And unfortunately, if you look at all the other parties in parliament, not a single one of them that wants to unseat them. People are just really happy to serve themselves and their political parties and aspirations without actually the determination to unseat the ANC. For us as Action SA, we are unapologetic about this because for as long as we've got ANC government in power, this country will eventually collapse. We're on the verge of collapse. We cannot be in a country with 44% unemployment rate. 74% of our youth have been the biggest casualties of this ANC corruption and mismanagement. We are the most unequal society in the world, more unequal than we were during apartheid. We are the most violent, we're the murder capital of the world. More people die in this country more than countries at war. Embarrassingly, we're a country that's known all over the world to be the rape capital of the world. You can see something has gone drastically wrong with ANC. So we need to really have a party that's committed to unseating ANC. And we believe, and I personally believe, that we are the party that is unapologetic on this mission to unseat the ANC so that we can save South Africa.
No, thank you for that. Now, Herman, I know that you made your political debut when you entered into the executive mayor position of Johannesburg Metro Municipality. And I think that's where even South Africans till today are still speaking about your excellent track record as the mayor of Joburg Metro. Maybe you could share some of your, some of the breakthroughs you had in Johannesburg Metro as mayor.
Well, Nell, in late 2015, when the DA approached me to be their mayoral candidate, initially I thought they were joking because, I mean, what did I know about politics? I've been a capitalist, I've been a businessman. I defied the National Party and EW board at the age of 22 to go into business. And I was really fortunate enough that I was reasonably successful by my standards. So when the new South Africa happened, my family and I were already really regarding ourselves to really be privileged South Africans. But then the firing of Nene really triggered my mind to say, I've got to really assist the DA to unseat the ANC, because I was under the impression at the time that the DA wanted to unseat the ANC. And negotiated a coalition arrangement. We performed well in the 2016 local government, attaining just over 38% of the council seats in the municipality of Johannesburg. And DA negotiated a coalition arrangement, 7-way coalition arrangement, which was really very difficult. But I made it work, and I made it work by treating all political parties the same, whether you were bringing 1 vote or 30 votes, I treated everyone equally. But I faced a major challenge, literally from day one, where the DA felt arrogant to expecting me to disregard other political parties and not interested in our budget process to focus some of the resources in the poor communities. And that really created friction between the DA and I, which led, unfortunately, when the DA in 2019 started having secret meetings with the ANC to remove me. And when I learned about this secret meetings between some of the DA leadership with the ANC, and for me and ANC, we don't come from the same planet. And I think I want South Africans to really know that a prosperous South Africa and the ANC cannot coexist in one area, in one space. One has to give in or one has to die. And it can't be South Africa. So I was really totally shocked when DA was prepared to work with this criminal enterprise. And that's why I said I made it clear a few weeks before Helen Zille was brought in to be the national chairperson of the DA. I said to South Africa and the DA, I said, you bring these right-wing elements into your party, I'm out. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever one would really like to call it, Helen Zille was elected back as DA's national chairperson, and the following day, the 22nd, I resigned and distanced myself from the DA. So the DA and I, we water under the bridge and let them continue with their relationship with the ANC.
It's interesting to hear. Action SA as a political party, it's a melting pot of some high caliber leaders from different previous political platforms, but it's all corruption busters from what we're hearing. To tell us, maybe you could introduce us to the type and the caliber of leadership in Action SA?
Okay, what happened, Neil, is that when I announced my resignation as the executive mayor and resigning from the DA, there was an outcry by South Africans that I start my own political party. But then I needed to scientifically verify whether these are real people or not. And 6th of December 2019, we launched a groundbreaking project called the People's Dialogue, where we wanted South Africans, ordinary South Africans, to really have our own CODESA. And within 3 months, we managed to get a mandate from 2.4 million South Africans who gave us the mandate to start this political party, which I launched on the 29th of August last year. And in the process, managed to attract good South Africans like our provincial chairperson, Dr. Makosi Khoza, who is known all over this country to really be someone who hates corruption. You remember when she was in Parliament in 2017, very brave woman, committed South African, real patriot, who said openly that he was going to vote against Jacob Zuma to be removed because of his level of corruption. Fake mentor. Today we've had the Zondo Commission that exposed the corruption in this country. She's our provincial chairperson in the Western Cape. Advocate Julian Benson, someone who's been an advocate, used to serve as an acting judge. Julian, never been in politics before, bringing massive legal background to us. Suren Pandey from here in KZN, he's our national treasurer. Chartered accountant by profession, successful businessman in his own right. Michael Bierman, who served as my chief of staff, very much experience in terms of really how local government works, and others. So if you look at our Senate, we honestly challenge anyone in terms of diversity of our senior leadership. If you look at our commitment, to look at our core values of what we stand for a non-racial South Africa. We stand for free market economy. We stand for social justice. We recognize the damage caused by many years of apartheid and colonialism, including the 27 years of ANC corruption and maladministration. So social justice has got to really be there. We stand for quality education. We cannot live in a country where 80% of public schools are dysfunctional. We believe in ethical leadership. Anyone serving in Action SA, we expect you to serve society before you can serve Action SA as a political party. You know, we are a political party where we are saying to South Africans, we are a vehicle for committed ethical leaders to serve through us. We stand for electoral reform where we want eventually over time, people must get used to electing their own ward councillors, their own members of parliament, mayors, premiers, and presidents. We believe in the rule of law. We cannot be in a country where we've witnessed through the Zondo Commission the blatant looting of state resources by the ANC with no consequences. Actually, President Cyril Ramaphosa has actually proven beyond reasonable doubt that he awards people who are stealing public monies. Look at what happened with the PPE scandal when South Africa was hit by the pandemic. The Minister of Health, who's supposed to have protected the health of our people, focused on stealing public monies. So yes, we want to revitalize our inner cities, work with the private sector to build affordable accommodation for our people. We want economic activity. One thing I want people of South Africa to know that in terms of our economic policy, no labor union will have a veto right over our economic policy. We are going to allow the private sector to drive the economy. For us as government, we are going to create that enabling environment. We'll protect the private sector. But we don't really say our people must be exploited. What is exploitation? The government's role is create an enabling environment where people can flourish in terms of the outcome. But as the Department of Labor, if you've promised someone you're going to pay them 6,000 rands, we expect you, give them an appointment letter, make sure that you honor what you've promised them. We will look into the health and safety measures so that our people are not made to really work in hazardous kind of environment. But in terms of how much you must pay them, who are we as government to determine that? We will leave it to the two parties, the person who's looking for work and whoever is prepared to employ them. That's really the only way we can actually create an environment in a prosperous South Africa.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, in this local municipality, Ballito is part of the Quadricuza municipality. I think one of the matters that we plagued with is constant power outages. And I think that is due to more than load shedding. I think load shedding contributes to it, but it's this aging electrical infrastructure, which is a nightmare because Ballito is a tourism destination and it's a growing and thriving business area for local economic development. When you were mayor of Johannesburg Metro, how did you confront this electrical infrastructure issue?
I tell you, Nell, this is the challenge that most of the municipalities, all run by the ANC, are going to face. Because when we took over ANC, unexpected that would take over the city of Johannesburg, I immediately embarked on doing a study on our infrastructure backlog, discovered 170 billion rands of infrastructure backlog. The city of Johannesburg, some of our substations were 50, 60 years old. Some of them you could not even find the space for them. The only engineers, actually, at the time in 2016, there was only one engineer left already in his 70s who knew what was happening. Because ANC focused their energies on firstly stealing and corruption. Secondly, I don't know, and this is a question I've always asked, that do the ANC actually realize that when you have infrastructure like this building or the streets or electricity or water reticulation facilities, you need to firstly maintain them. For sure. You've got to maintain them. But also, you've got to upgrade them because as more and more people come into the cities, you remember during apartheid, these facilities were meant to service a few people. Like here in Ballito, just look at Ballito 20 years ago and look at Ballito today. If you are not going to upgrade your infrastructure over and above maintaining, maintenance is not good enough. You need to build more capacity. And unfortunately, for as long as people of Ballito are going to allow ANC to govern, this infrastructure will eventually collapse. In fact, what they will do, ANC, they will change the name of streets and everything. I mean, I just saw last night the municipality of Ikuruleni, where people live in plastics. They're in informal settlements, squatter camps. But the mayor, the ANC mayor, has got the audacity to spend 300 million rands to change the names of streets. And this is what's going to really happen. If people of Ballito and Kwadukuza are not going to wake up and allow ANC to continue, I'm telling you, next time, Ballito name will be changed into something else. Because that's what, I don't know, they think by changing names of streets and buildings will improve their stuff, or that's their focus. How do you spend 300 million rands when people live in shacks, people don't have water, people don't have toilets? And that's really, if you're not careful, this is what's going to happen to the city.
So how deep do you think the rot is? Because when you were mayor of Johannesburg Metro, there were 6,000 cases, corruption. That was
35 billion rands.
35
billion rands of fraud and corruption.
800 people arrested.
And if you think if our criminal justice system wasn't captured, the number will be 3 to 4 times more. Because some of the people who are were involved in the capture of the city of Johannesburg are today sitting in our cabinet.
And do you think that's the same precedent in most municipalities throughout South Africa?
Oh, yeah, no. All
including maybe
municipalities are the same. Look, the thing is, we must accept that ANC is not here to serve society. ANC is here to steal. And that is why you look at all their senior people are cadres, people who are in these positions because of their connections. It's not about their skills, majority of them. Not especially at senior level. But I'm hopeful that because of my experience in the city of Johannesburg, got rid of a lot of cadres and put in professional people, black and white, because we cannot really run our country on the basis of race. Let us run our country on the basis of the skills people can provide, because once you put together professional public service, who benefits are the poor members of society. In the 3 years in the city of Johannesburg, by putting professional people, managed to actually move our infrastructure spend from 58% to 71%. 2 billion rands, which was directed from international travel, because the mayor before me used to be spending more time traveling overseas than being in the city. You're running a city, I'm telling you, his travel was more than the Minister of International Relations, Foreign Affairs. So newspapers, DSTV subscriptions and so forth, managed to actually take 2 billion rands, put it towards infrastructure spend. And that can happen, it's possible it can really happen in all the municipalities. We just have to remove ANC from power so that municipalities must be run by professional, skilled South Africans.
Wow, absolutely interesting. Herman, in conclusion, what would be your message to the residents of Ballito, Kwadukuza, and South Africans build up to this election?
No, thanks. I think it's a very, very important question, and I would really like to appeal to residents of Ballito, Kwadukuza, and people of South Africa in particular. Please, let us remove ANC from power, and let's do it in a peaceful, constitutional manner. 1st of November, in 2 weeks' time, please go out in your numbers. We've got 26 million people who are registered to vote instead of 37 million. But the 26 million, if you guys can come out in your numbers to vote and vote ANC out, we will save this country peacefully. Because the only glue that's putting ANC together is their closeness to state resources. For us, if we are not going to remove the ANC now and finish them in 2024, eventually South Africa will be a failed state. Let us do it for ourselves, let us do it for our families, let us do it for future generations.
Well, there you have it, folks. Couldn't have been said better than that. Thank you, Mr. Herman Mashaba. What a privilege and honor to have you in the studios today. And thank you for making the time, for taking the time amidst a busy election campaigning schedule you have to be here in Ballito. And thank you. Yeah, thank you. You're a resident of this place, and I know you care for this municipality. That's why KwaDukuza is one of the 6 that is chosen, has been chosen by the Senate of Action SA to contest this upcoming election. So go out on the 1st of November and please vote Action SA.
Welcome back, everyone, and that winds up our show for this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, and I, of course, need to thank our guests, our viewers, our sponsors for making all of this possible. We are going to be closing today on a music video. As always, though, today I've been convinced to sneak in one of my own music videos. This is a sneak peek into the Irish band that I used to play in. This was, I was about 5 months pregnant actually in this one last year. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And also a reminder that Chandramala's new episode is on Ballito TV this evening at 7:30. And stick around, we have Laugh Out Larry for the kids right after this, and we will be seeing you same time, same place tomorrow morning.
Here's a little song called Biddy McGraw, the young lass we named this band after. I'll tell you a story that'll give you a shock. It's all about a matter on the Belfast docks. The lady in question was Biddy McGraw. How she strangled two sailors with the straps of her bra, singing hooray, she got into a terrible fight. She remembered the words of her minor die, to keep both hands on the straps of her bra, singing hooray, of her bra on the big fella's neck. She tossed him in the lagging and he went slack. The wee lad laughed, hee-ha, hee-ha. So she strangled him with the straps of her ass and hooray-ya, 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 thanks be to Jesus that I wore my